up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I renamed the channel, so this is Chihu Garage and my name is Kikes, and today we got a new video. So if you read the title, you already know what we're up to in this video. So here's the thing, guys. After I made that last video, I was sitting down watching it and I was thinking, man, this guy's a weenie. Well, not really. So I actually thought that, you know, my reasoning for not wanting to do a cam was legit. And I even had somebody in the comments tell me that they would do a cam too, but I was right because of the mileage and all that stuff. So yeah, I was a little bit worried. But then I came across LT Toolman's video where he's building his 4.8 and he's comparing it to his other Silverado where he got an 8.1, and he's trying to just go check out his videos. It's pretty cool, and that guy's a professional. So anyway, I left a comment on his video and I was like, yo LT, what's the mileage on that 4.8? He actually replied and said about 185k. So I was like, if it wasn't a sign right there that my 180,000 4.8 should get a cam too, then I don't know what. So all I did was delay this whole process because now I'm getting deeper. Gotta wait longer for parts to come in. Most of the stuff is here already. So if you see me changing shirts throughout this video, it's just because I can't really do everything in order. But when I put the video together, it'll be pretty sequenced pretty good. So let's just get started, man. So at this point, I went and cleaned the block off. I even cleaned up the piston tops a little bit just to make it look nice. And I got all the oil passages plugged up just so we don't get dust in there. So right now, guys, we are ready to take this cam out. So what I did was I got this thing at top dead. So you see that dot on the cam sprocket? If you look down on the crank pulley, you see that little dimple. I even colored that tooth on the crank sprocket. I put some white paint on there just so I can see, but I mean, I guess you don't need to line it up when you pull it off, but when it goes back on, it has to be lined up or your timing's gonna be all off. So let's go take these 3 bolts off and get the cam out. Somebody has a wild boar over here. The thing goes crazy every time. It must be feeding time. Must be chow time for the boar. Here it is, guys. In person, live and direct. The BTR. Oh, not that side. There it is. BTR Stage II truck cam. And it also came with the BTR Beehive valve springs, along with new valve seals. This is the guys I got them from, Michigan Motorsports. Not a sponsor, but if you guys want to sponsor me, hit me up. And I think I got all this stuff on Amazon, but you know what? I ordered so much crap, I don't even know where I ordered it from. We've just been getting boxes and boxes in every day. So I'll leave all the links in the description. And it's probably gonna take me like 2 hours to write the description because I gotta go and trace back everything to where I bought them from and highlight the links so you can click on them. Hopefully you guys read the description and don't ask me a question never mind. Okay, so I got some shop towels down here because when I was cleaning off the surfaces, I didn't want the dust to go in the oil pan. So actually I got all the oil passages blocked off with these shop rags, and The coolant ones, I wasn't too worried about it because I was able to vacuum it out later, and I'll show you my special vacuum tool. But anyway, let's get this thing off. Now we just pull the cam pulley off. And you kind of just let the chain off. This thing has so much slack, so it's not that tight anyway. And we're just gonna let this thing drop like that. Cam pulley. Now we got these four more 10mm, and that's gonna take off this cam retainer plate. The cam retainer plate. This is also an oil seal too, so we're not going to reuse this. I have a new one. We just reuse the same bolts because the one I have doesn't have the chamfer for the countersunk bolts. Now we take the cam out. So what everybody does is they use the water pump bolts. So we just get 2 of our water pump bolts because they're longer, so you get more leverage. We screw this bad boy in. So now, since I got the heads off and the lifters out, this is should be easier. But you can do this with the heads and everything else on. I'm sure you guys seen a million videos of cam swaps on LS motors, but you use these 2 holes, you stick some, I don't know what size they are, I think they're like 3/8 or 5/16 wooden dowels, and you stick them in here and it'll hold the lifters up. So anyways, we're just gonna go Alright, let's open this guy up. So anytime you install a cam, you gotta use some lube because you don't want to stick your cam in dry. So this is good stuff, assembly lube. I see some people use oil or whatever, but yeah, assembly lube, $5, AutoZone. And actually, I'm gonna do this over this, so if it drips onto there, it's okay. Let's see, I'm gonna open. First, open the bottle. Just put this stuff everywhere. This is the best part. Don't be ashamed. Use liberal amounts. Maybe I need 2 bottles. Try not to bust a hole in the condenser. But yeah, I took out the radiator. You should take out your radiator if you're doing this on the car. Forgot to mention. It's like this thing is falling in. It's like it was meant to be there. So you don't have to twist a lot, guys. You don't, whatever you do, you don't want to bang the cam bearings loose. Because I don't want to say it because I'm not done yet, but put the bolts back in just to get this last thing, this last part in. I got my new cam retainer plate, made by Mali, whatever you call it. So like I said, we're not gonna reuse this old one because if you feel this seal, it's pretty much flattened out already, and this one you can feel the rib. These bolts are 18 foot-pounds. Okay, so I got the bolts in. It was kind of tricky. I had to, the cam keeps wanting to slide back towards the engine, so I had to like try to draw it out. So I was able to set my marks up, kind of slack the chain. You can see this is how slack it is when it's all together, but you're gonna know if you're off a tooth or not because it's gonna be way off. But I was able to kind of draw it in with the bolts. We got everything good. Now I'm gonna torque these down to 26 foot-pounds. Now I'm just gonna rotate the engine all the way around and just make sure my marks still line up. Here we are, guys, top dead with the brand new cam. Choo! Before I put this front cover back on, I want to go and vacuum up all the debris on the sides and stuff before I pull the shop towels. That way I don't want anything to fall into the oil pan. But even if it does later, I'm going to run oil down and drain the oil before we start anything. But right now I want to vacuum everything, and I'm going to show you my special tool I made. First, you're going to grab your kid's hydro flash straw, and then just use some tape into the vacuum attachment. And what this does is it lets me get into all these little places so I can suck and clean up all this crap. And the best part is it even fits in the bolt holes. So like later on when we chase the threads, we can get all the way in there. And I know it works because last night I sucked out all the coolant from the back and all back there and cleaned out the hose. So yep. You see where the oil pan gasket is? And right in that corner where it meets the bottom of this face, we're just gonna put a glob of gray RTV over there. You can see the leftover RTV on the oil pan gasket that we replaced in a previous video. So same thing, when we put the oil pan gasket on, we put RTV in those corners too. And you can see my oil pan gasket still nice and shiny. So, you know, I might just add more RTV. Probably add some RTV to the cover on the bottom, just so I know I'm guaranteed sealing off good over here. And if you look at this gasket, you see like this bolt hole has rubber, and then this one has, and this one has, and this one has. So if you take your bolts, you can kind of thread it in. Okay, so I needed 2 hands to do this, but you can kind of thread the bolt or push it through, and then this will just help the gasket stay aligned. I got the new front crank seal in, so you want to get all these bolts kind of snugged up first onto the engine, but you don't want to tighten them fully, because you got to make sure that this thing goes flat. So I usually tighten these, like I do this all the time. I'm gonna tighten these bottom ones first, and then go back and torque everything else. All sealed up, guys, ready to go. So these bolts all torque to 18 foot-pounds, as well as the 2 on the bottom. On to the next. Alright guys, now got the new seals on the valley cover, and I'm just putting some assembly lube on here, so they slide over the knock sensor bases, or whatever they're called. And the reason for me putting assembly lube, because this is already second set. I messed up the first one, and hopefully this will slide on easier. Back is on.
Yeah, yay!
Alright, first look at the new heads. Well, not new, but reconditioned heads. So right now I'm going ahead and I'm swapping out the springs, and I'm installing the ones that came with the cam. So as you can see, these beehive springs. It's a little funny because the ones that came off of them kind of look the same, have the same amount of coils, but I don't know, we're swapping them out. The cam also came with valve seals too, but we got some fresh new valve seals in there already, so I'll just leave those in. And I did these 2 already. Oh, these 4, and I got 4 more to go. I bought the tap to clean out the head bolt holes, and it's actually a M11 by 2.0. So it's kind of an odd size, so I just went and spent the extra for the ARP one. And what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna run it down the hose, especially after pulling off the heads with coolant and stuff. You get everything in the hose, so when you go to torque your head bolts back on, you want to make sure your threads are clean. And I just got one of these, I don't know what you call it, but you can use a tap handle if you have. This one's a little ratchet, makes it easier. See that? It's like dirt and stuff, but... And then after, I'm gonna get my special Suckomatic 3000 and clean out all these hoses. Suckomatic 3000. So I got my Morel 7717 lifters, and I've been soaking them in some kimchi sauce. It's actually 5:30, but I also got some brand new GM lifter trays, and we're just gonna set these in. Alright, got all my lifter trays installed. Looking good with the Morel lifters. Man, I used so much oil, this stuff dripped everywhere. Kimchi from Costco. Perfect bottle. Could have used less oil, but oh well. Next, I got the factory, I think these are LS1 head gaskets. Multi-layer steel. Got about 10 layers, no, maybe 3, 4, I don't know. Multi-layer steel though. The original ones that came off that caused this leak were composite. So this is definitely an upgrade. And I'll be spraying some of this stuff on top of it. Some copper sprayer gasket. But yeah, I don't think I really need it. But it won't hurt. Plus, Sal told me to use it, so I'm gonna listen to Sal. I got my new dowel pins in, or roll pins. They're dowel pins, but yeah, you can reuse your old ones, but I just put brand new ones. They're cheap. So let's go spray these and get some heads on. The gasket all sprayed up, and as you can see, or maybe you can't see, but it does say front on the front of the gasket. Easier to read before I sprayed it with that copper stuff. Now let's go see if we can get this head on. Yes, sir. How do I get out? Whoever welded this bumper was awesome. All right. So before I do the other side, I think I'm going to start torquing this thing down. So I did get ARP Head Bolts, and I already lubed them up because you got to lube up the threads and under the head, and these are going to be torqued to spec. So there's an actual torque spec versus the factory bolts. You got to torque them and then turn them so much degrees. So we're not going to mess with that. going with the good stuff, and I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. So let's get a torquing. I'm not gonna lie, guys, they kind of kicked my butt, but the heads are on and they're all torqued down. This side was a pain in the butt torquing because I'm a little too fat to be crouching up in here. My back was killing me when I was done. And then this side, I could actually stand on the side over here and torque it. But that last bolt all the way in the back, I had to drop it in while putting the head down because it'll hit the firewall. And I remember that's how I had to take it out, but I don't know why I thought it would fit going back in. I don't know. But the heads are on, guys. And I'm gonna take a break. So next thing I'm gonna do, get the headers on and then figure out what we're gonna do about this steam vent piping tubes. Yeah. Okay guys, so we're back at it. Now that the exhaust is done. I went in, dropped the push rods in, and I got the new rocker arms set. They're just snug down for now. So I went with these Michigan Motorsports rocker arms that came with the trunnion upgrade. So as you can see, looks pretty. And you can buy the trunnion kit and reload your stock rocker arms, but I don't have the tools for that stuff, and just spend a little bit more, and I got a new set already with the upgrade. So I'm getting ready to tighten these down, and I'm gonna follow the sequence that they gave. I know there's a million different ways to do this, and I seen guys just torque the whole thing to 22 foot-pounds, and it looks like it worked out for them. But the way they tell you to do it is you kind of want to torque it to spec with both valves closed, or at least not on the cam lobe. So that's what I'm gonna do. So right now, before I put the heads on, I had it at top dead center. So number one cylinder should be at top dead center. So I did torque those two down already, and then now it's gonna tell me to tighten exhaust valves 2, 7, and 8, and then tighten the intake 1, 3, 4, and 5, and then we're gonna rotate 360 and tighten down the rest. Check this out, custom. it's time. Instead of boring you with all those tightening sequence, I went ahead and slapped it all back together. So, first of all, this is just on there, but we're not using this ugly thing. We're gonna upgrade. Like, oh, stepping into the 2000. Oh, it already is a 2000, but now we're gonna look like a 02. I got everything back on. The upper fan shroud, as you can see, brand new belts, idler, tensioner, everything. Even for the AC down there, can't see. Try and start it like this so we can see. So, back to the steam vent pipe. I just went and cleaned it up and made sure I checked it for leaks or whatever, for holes, but we're just gonna run that again. So I cleaned it up, put it back, and the hose is going straight to my radiator, and I disconnected the, we're bypassing the throttle body, so there's no coolant going to the throttle body, just going straight back to the radiator. Then you look on this side, and there's an EGR block off plate. We did the EGR delete. As you can see, I went and cleaned up all the coils. That's the crappiest part of this whole thing, man. Cleaning every 20 years of crud and dirt, and like now even as I look at this wire harness, it's filthy, but it is what it is, guys. The headers, I don't know why those wires are blue. I mean, they look good. They look good with the valve cover, but this freaking red firewall. Gosh, man. But anyways, those are Taylor wires. The 409 series. So they're supposed to be like a 10mm wire. They look good. With my custom gold valve covers. I went ahead and added our coolant. This custom coolant funnel. I already topped off the oil, and it's gonna have to just connect the battery and start her up. Kind of nervous. So our first concern was our coolant leak. So that's one thing I gotta focus on. Because I tore down the motor so much and got pretty much all the way into it, it's like we're starting up a brand new engine. So I gotta make sure there's no fuel leaks, no oil leaks, and no coolant leaks. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna connect the battery, cycle the key on, and I'm gonna check to make sure that my fuel line connections are good, and even the injectors too, because I took those out of the intake to clean around, and I don't know if I put them back good. I mean, so far I filled it up with coolant and oil, and nothing is dripping on the ground, so I think we're good there. So I'm gonna cycle the key on, then I'm gonna remove the fuel pump relay and just crank it over so that I can get some oil flowing in the engine. And then I'm gonna try start her up. I'll probably put the intake pipe back on, but just leave the upper fan shroud off so that I can see what's going on. And plus, because we did the cam, I don't even know if it's gonna start. I don't know if I gotta like up the idle or what, but we gonna find out. So let's connect this battery. I hope it's not dead because it's been sitting for a while. And let's see. First test, key on. hear that? Did you hear that thing start with residual fuel? Oh, it's gonna spoil the surprise. We're starting it now. It was freaking sick. It died out, so I know I gotta get it tuned. And I know I gotta do some stuff, so I expect the check engine light to be on. One, because we don't got no EGR. Two, we don't got no downstream O2 sensors. I should get a low catalytic efficiency, because we don't got none of those either. Oh man, this thing sounds so good. And it's only on a white pipe to a single Flowmaster flow effects, and this thing sounds freaking awesome. So my buddy Devin, who has a killer truck, he has a Silverado 2 step side. He did a cam swap. He told me, so I asked him, where'd you get your tune? So he told me, check out these guys, mail order tuner. You can either ship them your PCM or they can do tune over email. So since I got HP tuners already, I went and sent him my file. Not even 24 hours later, they sent me back this killer tune. And I'm gonna get it ready for you guys right now. I already been running it, so I know it's cherry, but you guys gotta hear this thing. I couldn't end the video on a my generic idle up tune, whatever, but here, I'll just, here we go. Okay. I'm just gonna do a log. So ready? Here we go, guys. What? No check engine lights. Steady. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but we loping. We are loping. Ooh. Hear that crunchiness? Oh man. And that's only single in, single out Flowmaster effect. Imagine if I ran through duals. But this thing sounds killer. So I'm gonna go drive around and do some logs. That is it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching Chihu Garage, and until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.